negative way to come at all of these topics. I'm more preventative medicine, and so I like to speak about things that are preventative medicine. And if we compound our joy on the front end, the conflicts and the stress aren't as big of a deal as we were going through them. Does that make sense? And I like interaction, so you can interrupt me. I also have a coaching certification, and I work with parents a lot on not losing your identity. If you're not a parent, it doesn't matter. We lose our identity in our jobs, we lose them with our partners, we lose them in addiction, we lose them because we just get overwhelmed. So regardless. And I'm not selling anything. So what? I do have a sign-in sheet, and I actually have this Polkadot sheet with people's name on it. And if you want a copy of my book, I decided since I want to make a difference to people, I just give it away. So I can email you a PDF of the book if you want that. I do get your email, and I'm going to be transparent. You will be on my newsletter list. I make it super easy to opt out, but I hope that it's enough value that you don't want to. Okay, so we're going to do a project. A little project here. Well, first, I think I have to read that last one. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Behind every great woman, I pray will be another great woman whispering, "You've got this," in her ear. So that brings me to our little project. If you have something to write on, great. If not, just think about it. I want you to think of something negative you say about yourself or to yourself in your head. So take a second and think about it. It can be something like, pretty easy, like that. It looks great. It would look better if you lost 5 pounds. Something you say to yourself that's not nice. So think about that. Let me know when you're ready. Everybody have something? So look at the person next to you, and instead of saying it to yourself, say it out loud to the person next to you. You go first. See, when I do this project, nobody wants to do it. So you would say, you need to have small ways. If you wouldn't want to look at the person next to you, you wouldn't want to look at one of your kids, you wouldn't want to look at your best friend, and you wouldn't want somebody next to you to know what it was, why the hell are you saying it to yourself? Who else are we going to say it to? Well, Julie, I guess, like today. Right. Now I want you to think about someone that you really care about. A best friend, a parent, a sibling, a friend, whatever, child. And think about the things that we say to them. So now when you look in the mirror, we might want to change it around. Every time the thoughts come into your head that aren't particularly nice, like that apple looks great, it would look better if you lost 5 pounds, I would never say that to my teenage daughter. Not in a million years would I ever say that to my best friend. Ever. It would never come out of my mouth. Why would you say it to yourself? So the first thing in compounding joy is watching what your negative self-talk is. So, compounding joy is about math. And you guys probably can't see this one either. So, this is my 10-year-old me. When am I ever going to use long division in real life? 34-year-old me when my 10-year-old brings her homework home. And you open the backpack, you go, son of a bitch. We understand compound interest. You guys understand compound interest? What do you work in insurance? Judy? Okay. So you buy the house for $250,000 over 30 years, that percent interest rate, you paid $206,000 in interest, so you paid almost double for the house. We understand it. We understand it with a car, we understand it with a house, and we understand it in an investment portfolio. If you get a good one, it can work for you, but not in a savings account so much. Does that make sense? So this is compound interest. Compound interest is everything in life. Everything in life comes down to compound interest. And you guys can't, oh, that's compound interest. That was compound interest working for me one night. It was margaritas. Kind of worked against me that night also, but that's a different story completely. So we often feel a lot of negativity in the world. I can go through the Starbucks drive-thru. I actually never go through the Starbucks drive-thru, but for purposes of the example. If somebody gets my order wrong, it's really easy for me to let them know that they got my order wrong. Super easy. When the voice comes over the loudspeaker, I'm like, wow, he was in a good mood. Whether you got my order right or not, we don't tend to take a couple extra seconds and say, dude, your voice over the loudspeaker made my day. Thank you so much. But that's compound interest working for you. It's working for the other person, but it works for you also, and I'll explain that. Let's see. Little lipstick on the mirror, I love you. Okay, this is Sean Anker. Sean has no idea that we're best friends yet. That's okay. And I'm gonna, hi Sean. He did a TEDx talk that you guys really, I highly encourage you to look at. It has over 13 million views. He is one of the funniest people I have ever seen. He talks super fast like I do, so I totally love him. He was a professor at Harvard for 12 years, and I'm going to read this so I get it right. He is part of his Happiness Advantage training is one of the largest and most successful positive psychology corporate training programs in the world. And his TED Talk is one of the most popular. Sean Anker, I can send it to you if you want, but you will pee your pants. He's pee your pants funny. And in his talk, he uses a slide. And when I watched this talk and I saw the slide, I realized that my talk, I had 4 out of 5 of his bullet points. So I reached out to Sean, who, like his team reached out back to me. It's fine, though. And they said, yes, you can use my slide. And this is the slide. So I'm going to talk, not all of this comes from Sean, but he has so many statistics in his lifetime study of happiness and success, which relates to business, but not only to business. So I'm going to talk about both of these things since he had both. So the first thing is gratitude, which you guys talked about today, which was really cool. So in 2 minutes a day, for 21 days, you can completely change your mindset. You write down 3 different things. You talked about 21 things, which is like overwhelming to my brain.
They repeat. You can repeat.
Oh, you can repeat them. Okay, so this is 3 things a day, but they're different every day. So 3 things a day for 21 days it rewires your brain to start looking for things that are positive instead of negative. So a gratitude journal, basically. I used this with my kids growing up without knowing it, and I knew that there was a lot of positivity around the number 3, and I'm sure there's a lot of information about that. But you probably can't see these, but these are pictures of my family. There's 8 kids at this dinner table and 11 kids at this dinner table. And we did a thing when the kids were growing up called high-low. And it was an idea I got from a movie that I had seen, and I tweaked it. So we would go around the table, and you could only say one low. One thing that was maybe not great about your day. And usually 3 highs, because when you have 11 kids around the table, it takes some time. So I inadvertently was using the number 3. And they talked about things that were positive, that were good about their day. And what it did for me with a mom with like a lot of kids at home is it allowed each one of them to have center stage and speak about their day with everyone focused on them. And so we did it in high-low. So that's an idea. You can do that in lots of different ways, but it's just looking for the positive in your day and sharing it and putting the spotlight on that. Journaling. So these are 8 pictures of different examples. I don't have the most polite mouth. So there are some, it's like one that's let that shit go. I mean, it's fine to journal. So I have some examples of journals. Right here. And some of them, like right now, this is the one that's in my purse. Live fully, breathe deeply, and love madly. And I have a lot of smaller ones that I keep in my purse. I keep them everywhere I go. And this is the oldest one. I was encouraged to do a dream journal, which isn't waking up in the middle of the night when you've had a dream to write it down and remember it, which I never do, and I should. But it's the dreams that you have in your mind, the things that maybe have left undone, or the goals that you have. And later on, I'll show you some ideas to do a better dream journal, because although I do a combination. But journaling, if you journal one positive thing, so this is another 2 minute for 21 days, One positive thing. So 3 gratitude things are bullet points. Pretty fast and easy, 2 minutes. One thing is something that happened in your day. So you're taking 2 minutes on one topic, but it allows your brain to relive it fully for a solid 24 hours. And so again, you're compounding joy in your life. You're looking for the positive. The other thing you can do with the journal is just free write. So some people that don't like it to be set in stone where you're doing a certain thing, just write about anything that comes to mind. Exercise. I love the studies about getting outside and walking for 20 minutes because most people at some point in their week can walk for 20 minutes. This YouTube video is 6 minutes long and it got like 18 million views. It's ridiculous. They did a study, a group of people, or 6 people, that did 100 squats for a month. And I was like, that sounds like a horrible idea. But it was a really fun experiment. I do know that if we all stood up right now and did 25 squats, nothing's going to look different. But if we did that every single day over a year, it's compound interest. That's all it is. It's just compound interest.
Can you show us an example of a squat?
Yes. Woo! I can keep going too. I'm trying to do the 100 a day because I was doing 25 a day and I saw this challenge accepted. But they did it for 30 days, 100 squats, and it's great because they talk about how miserable they were. I didn't think I could get through it. I had to do 10 times during the day. I woke up the next morning. I didn't think I could walk. I was staggering. And then the progression over that 30 days. And this woman was like, I gained an inch of butt in a month. Like it's really fun to see that no matter what their story was, the 6 of them, they had some amount of progression in just 30 days. So great butt. Thanks. I do squats. Thank you. I work you got me all off track and a little bit embarrassed. Exercise teaches your brain that your behavior matters. So when you are consistently doing something for exercise, you're just training your brain. Your brain's just triggered that what you do matters. We wanted to do that, and we want to do other positive things to back it up. Okay. Button it up. What's that? To button it up. Exactly. Okay, this is not me. This is a stock photo because I have never been great at meditation. So I thought, meditation, there's a lot of information out there, and I used to try it and feel like I was a complete and total failure. Because I don't do the pose, but when I'm sitting there and calming my mind, I'm like, okay, I need to make sure I get toilet paper and paper towels. No, I have to. Okay. Did I start the dryer? Because I know I need to. No. You need to keep coming back and keep coming back. So I use guided meditation. I actually picked I had my top 5 favorite guided meditations, and I sent myself an email. I send myself texts and emails all the time. I'm very popular. So it's just how I remember. So it's in my inbox on my email, and literally all I have to do is open my inbox and click it and pick one, and it plays on QuickTime Player. So I just need to make things as brainless as possible and as easy to find as possible, and that's how I did it, so that I can listen to a guided meditation. And I picked shorter ones, and then you can build in the longer ones. But meditation has tons of science behind it, so if it's frustrating to you, like it was for me, there are ways around it. You just have to figure out the way around it. Now, the one thing that was on Sean Anchor, my best friend's list, that wasn't on mine, is random acts of kindness. And what I loved is that he actually put it as a separate bullet point. He had, in corporate business, what he has people do is use their email. So you send somebody an email. I'm going to show you something, though. I'm so worried I forget about this. So this is a note card. It's got writing on it. I got it in my mailbox. So I know, those are like, I just said 3 different things that are really shocking. Someone bought note cards. They still sell them. And then took the time to write in it, and then found out my address. I don't know how, the sneaky little bugger. It was Alexanne still. who's one of my closest friends. And she wrote me a note with her own handwriting, and she sent it in the mail. And I was like, oh, I got a card in the mail. And I don't know if you guys do that, but I do. I opened it up, I was like, okay, I totally deserve this. And then I cried, and then I did a video on my YouTube channel about it, like that day, because I was crying, because we don't understand the power that we have. It took her, I don't know how long, but want me to read it to you?
Yes.
Okay, I wasn't going to, but I'm really excited about it. I love you, Jen Taylor. Love your sense of humor, love your positive attitude, love that you think outside of the box, love that you're willing to take big risks, love that you're such a loving mom and wife, love that you take advantage of what comes your way day after day after day. I just plain love you. I didn't know those things about me, or I don't think about them, because in the mirror, maybe I looked at myself and thought that outfit would look great if you just lose 5 pounds, right? But this is the type of thing that we can do that takes very little time, 2 minutes, 21 days, and it can be in your email. You guys are all like, later. You all know. Okay, so do things. Do random acts of kindness in whatever way, even if it's through your email, even if it's telling the dude at Starbucks, hey, you made my day this morning. I really appreciate it. I'm going to give you another example. It's something that I challenged my kids. My kids made fun of me a few years ago, probably about 10 years ago, because on the phone, when I'm talking to somebody, I say, hey, Julie, thank you. I really appreciate you. And I really mean it. I really appreciate you.
You're welcome.
Not I appreciate that, not thanks a lot, not like I really appreciate you. And my kids are gonna be like, I really appreciate you. I really appreciate you. And so I said, okay, I'm challenging you at school when you go to school. When a teacher or a person does something nice to you, I want you to look at them genuinely and say, thank you, I really appreciate you. And I just want you to do a study on what a difference it makes. And they came back a couple weeks later and they were like, Mom, you are not gonna believe it. No, I might, maybe I am, because we just don't take the time. And it really can make a difference to someone. Smiling. Now you guys can't see this, so I'm going to read it. I have it because I don't remember the statistics. Smiling, you're not even going to believe one of these. I can tell you right now. You're going to, and we can do a challenge at the next Polkadot to see if it's real. Smiling reduces blood pressure, boosts your mood, decreases stress hormones that negatively affect your physical and mental health. Okay, here we go. A British study, they actually did a study on this. A British study even found that one smile, generates the same level of brain stimulation as up to 2,000 bars of chocolate. No way. Who would eat 2,000 bars of chocolate? You'd be so sick, you'd be like, next time I'll smile. You look better, appear more competent, more likable, and courteous. Other people smile back. Do a test on that. I like to stand in front of my family and smile at people, and they're like, people are so friendly, they're smiling all the time, and they don't know. I'm like, in the front, you know. You have a happier life, it breeds trust, and helps you live longer. The science behind smiling is amazing. So I'm going to tell you a story quickly about Heather Renner. In 2016, I had 3 girls graduating from high school, 2 of them from Damani High. And at Damani High's graduation, one of the girls got up to speak in the graduating class. Her superlative was most smiley or most happy or something like that. So Heather got up to speak, and I'm in contact with Heather. And she said, I was really surprised when I got this honor, this award for being the happiest or the most smiling. Because 3.5 years ago in my freshman year of high school, I was trying to commit suicide. So here I am 3.5 years later, and she talked about her experience that when the suicide attempts didn't happen, and she got through that part of it, she knew she needed to make some changes. And without knowing the science behind smiling, that's where she started. And she started to notice that it was making such a big difference in the people around her and in herself that she just kept doing it until, on her graduation day, the kid who would have been a suicide statistic was giving a speech on positivity. The next suggestion I'm going to give you is, I use this is actually a copy of 2018 on my notepad. When something unique happens, like I got stitches in my finger this year, I started my YouTube channel, I had to go to court with my son, like stuff like that. Things that are bigger, they're not normal. I write them down on a notepad. It's amazing at the beginning of the year or at the end of the year, you look at that, because I don't think we give ourselves credit for how much happens and how much we accomplish and the things that occur in our lives that are greater than the norm. So I keep a list on my phone that syncs with my laptop, and that's where I use notes. A lot of people use an anchor. That's my wrist. I also have a bracelet that I wear almost every day that says moon and back. When my kids were growing up, they'd say, love you, mom, and I'd say moon and back. It was from a book, and we just started saying moon and back. But my daughter that made the bracelet for me made it a year after her suicide attempt that I caught. So, and I hospitalized her for it. It means a lot to me, not because I think about my daughter who had a suicide attempt, but because I think about the fact that she wasn't successful and she was there to make the bracelet. And we can still have an impact on people. I was trained to teach people about suicide prevention, and I had a couple of kids that had suicide attempts. So, Secret Santa. My husband once, he pulled this, it was in my car, and he pulled it out, and this fell out. And it was a point in our marriage where we were struggling just a little bit. And he came in, and he was all nervous. He's very sweet. And he said, have you been speed dating? And I've never been speed dating, because this fell out of my journal. This is about 14 years old. And I keep it because in an office, we did a Secret Santa. And when I got this paper to write down stuff about myself, I had to take it home and really think about it. I couldn't even tell you at that point. I was divorced, I was a single mom, I had 9 kids at home, I was doing foster care still, and those kids were moving in. I was working 3 jobs for part of the time, and I was just tapped out. And I couldn't tell you what my favorite drink was, or if you went to the store and bought me a candy bar, what it would be. I had just kind of lost sight of who I was in the stress of just life happening. And so I've kept it to remind myself to never get back to that place. It also works for speed dating, which I didn't know, so that's great. So Secret Santa just means that you can create a list of things about yourself and put it on the fridge to remind yourself. So I've given you 13 things. This is my wrap up. There's 13 things that I've given you to compound joy. And as a bonus, 14 for any of you who are superstitious about the number 13 is a timeline exercise. I did this when I wrote my book because we think about our life in chunks of time. So however you think about your life in chunks of time, write out a timeline, kind of like this, the year, how old you were, and what was happening. And I did that to write the book, but then because I was writing about people, anyone who was a positive influence in my life, I actually contacted them to tell them thank you. So that's the timeline exercise. When you write your timeline of your life, go back and say thank you to